Today's highlights.
今日精彩预告。
亲爱的时尚高潮的残编的铁粉，你们好啊！残编今天要告诉你们一个好消息啊！我现在 YouTube 开启了会员制度了，不是，应该算是铁粉制度了。只要加入我的铁粉，你就可以有很多好处了，可以有我超私密的 Q&A 问与答的，可以爆料我旁边所有黑历史的机会哦。然后还有一些只有铁粉才看得到的影片哦。Big announcement, I am opening up to membership on my YouTube channel now. And if you join my membership, you will get exclusive videos to membership only videos, and you will get to dig out all the skeletons in my closet because you will have a chance to have a Q&A exclusive session with me. So join our membership today. 也赶快加入时尚高潮残编铁粉 YouTube 铁粉系列哦，拜拜。
Amazon MGM release, so it's an important movie for us. Amazon is collaborating with us with this movie that was never shown before, and we will have this special screening. From Germany, Alice 50/50 is an international premiere of a German movie, and this is in partnership with the German consulate. We spoke about Jorge de Cappadocia, but again, is in partnership with the Consulate of Brazil. Citizen of a Kind, one of the biggest Korean movies, and it's going to be a special presentation since we have a lot of activations with snacks and food from Korea. Again, in a partnership with the Consulate of Korea. A special focus is going to be on breaking barriers and films dedicated to diversity, disability, and marginalized communities. These are important movies, and we love to show it. They are movies that also really give a lot of hope, and I learned a lot from this movie. Nata Bertè, and the director is going to be here presenting it. Amleto mio fratello, of course, Gerini is going to be here presenting it. The Shadow of the Sun from Venezuela. The Wicked Rebels, again, another movie from Germany regarding the autism. A Little Something Extra, a French movie on Down syndrome, and 97 minutes, a Turkish movie about autism and being on the spectrum. Again, Inclucity is also inclusivity. And so we love to find movies that are appropriate for this audience, but also that speaks about all this thematic. And regarding architecture and design, we touched a little bit on this before. Is a program that started many years ago with the presenting sponsor Greg Wolf, and we have this year three special events. One is dedicated on sustainability, is the premiere of Green Over Grey, director Francesca Molteni is going to be in attendance. Another special project, an event that probably is going to be for me one of the best events to attend, sorry, but I have my favorites, is Archi Wine. Is an event that combines architecture and wineries. And we start filming part of the components of this event a few days ago in Niagara-on-the-Lake. What is going to be? There are going to be two documentaries on wineries and the architecture of wineries, and there is a wine tasting. So we are going to have wine tasting with Italian wines and Canadian wines, the best Canadian wines from, of course, the winery that we have, Jackson Tricks, and of course the Two Sisters, and wineries from the north of Italy. we have a little clip that we just produced in Niagara that I'd like to show.
So I was informed by intelligence channels that a large collection of objects, memorabilia, whatever, which belong personally to the movie cultural world. One of them is beside me, the other one is in the first row. So they bought these pieces in Italy and brought them here. So I was so astonished by the large a collection which is wonderful, but I was at the same time, disappointed. So I began to lobby strongly because Toronto in particular, Toronto, which is the capital of the picture in motion industry in Canada, can access and give access to the public to these beautiful pieces. And finally, here we are, and I am very happy that ICFF took the challenge, and we together we can now announce this exciting exhibition. I am very thrilled to understand how the public will respond, because I confess my idea would be that a museum could be created, not a temporary exhibition within a museum. The public will see from the display here in this very location. I understand what kind of pieces Toronto has here available. So I hope that from that huge interest can grow, and who never knows, perhaps in a few.
Appreciate this opportunity to talk about something so special. Thank you, Console Generale Leioli, of course, you being, you would appreciate more than anybody the value of this exhibit, and of course, for Italian Canadians and every other culture, of course, Fellini has been an example and a maestro, as Scorsese would say, to all other movie directors over the decades, because he's been doing films since the 40s. And I'm just going to give some trivia to it, because there's another presentation on Fellini. I'm just going to say a little story. In 1991, December of 1991, I'm graduating in medicine at the University of Rome, and I just finished discussing my thesis, and I'm in Piazza del Popolo al Barcanova, and I'm just having my little cappuccino, and I turn around, and all of a sudden I immediately identify Federico Fellini. Of course, the hat, the glasses, the sharp. His spirit is sitting right in the back there in that chair. That chair was one of his movie director chairs over decades. And his spirit is here, and I don't know what took me over, but I had the courage to go up to him, and I started just laying it thick on him, and I said, I cannot believe I'm in your presence. And I started listing a couple of movies that were important to me, and all of a sudden he asked me, dai, sediamoci, prendiamoci un caffè insieme. That was the message, and for 15 minutes, I cannot believe that I spent 15 minutes of my life just talking to him, and I couldn't believe that he took any interest in wanting to speak to me. I was like 23 years old, and 35 years later, when Dominic Sciullo, a good friend of ours, of course, gave us a connection to Federico Fellini in Italy through very important individuals. I called Paolo Golini and I said, what's going on here? We have to go and see this. And we have videos about visiting, I should say this, during the pandemic, visiting his 6,000 square foot studio in Cinecittà. And I couldn't believe it. 30 plus years after his death, his studio was intact. It was a museum in of itself. They were revering him, and the figure of Roberto Mannoni, who was his art director and closest companion, had taken on the ownership and the duty to maintain that legacy over the 30 years. And we had the opportunity to sit down with him and have lunch with him. I prepared myself. I knew all of his work before going there, so that helped a lot. And he took a liking to us, and it took Italian Canadians to appreciate the value, the beauty of the legacy of Federico Fellini, and we became the natural people taking on this duty to continue the legacy of Fellini. So I'm so honored to be able to say these two words, but I'm more interested in seeing the reaction of all of you and others that will be coming to see this exhibit, to just understand the beauty of what is there. Probably 6.5 decades of his life are in this exhibit, and there's just so much to appreciate and so much to study. And thank you very much, everybody, and I hope that you enjoy that exhibit.
If you hear anything else, you might get a buckle. Thank you for having. So excited with what's happening here. And Cristiano and I have been friends. We've talked about doing things in the past. I honored Shape of Water in the past, which was a great honor. Moving here to the Distillery, fantastic. And just to see what's going on now with honoring Fellini and Norman and everything else, it's just really just the development of the festival. We talked about doing something this year, and Cristiano suggested a screening of one of our movies. And by the way, I'm not the guy behind it. Guillermo del Toro's the guy behind this, so I'll just take the hockey assist on that. And we talked about screening, but I suggested something different. Having shot here many times, I suggested doing the Distillery on film. My first experience here in 1987, the Distillery was still open. And we chose to make it, I was a baby producer, and we chose to make it our home base set for a series called Friday the 13th, where the production designer said, this is the spot for us, we won't be bothered. It turned out we got here, and everyone said, we can't smoke because the place might blow up. So it was like, okay, it's not just a regular location where they're gonna be mad at you, it will be gone. And allow you liquor with it. So we tried to behave, people sneaking behind buildings and whatnot. And so that was then. And since then, most people probably aren't aware, this is the #1 filming location in all of Canada. This building that we're standing in, the Stone Distillery, was the Cook County Women's Jail in Chicago, the Best Picture winner of 2002. It was in RoboCop, it was in Guillermo's movie Mimic, it was in our recent show Cabinet of Curiosities, X-Men, The Hurricane, many of Norman's movies, Bogus, it was in. So the history here is really incredible, and we want to share that. And I will say, to be sitting outside, and we're going to put some film packages together, watching the buildings that you're sitting around in the context of other films, it will be a strange and wonderful experience. So we're looking forward to doing that, honoring this great facility. So many production designers love it here. It's so unique in Toronto, and we're so grateful to have it. It's such a great piece of urban redevelopment. To think of all the buildings we've torn down, not you, Alfredo, lady over here, many of my uncles, but an amazing community and being celebrated as a community here during the festival. So we're looking forward to doing that. I'm hoping to have 1 or 2 production designers with me who can talk about that, Oscar-nominated and Oscar-winning production designers who worked with us on Shape of Water, on Nightmare Alley. And then the evening will conclude with a screening of La Forma dell'Acqua, The Shape of Water, which, the ending of which was shot maybe 300 yards from here across the way. So we're very excited about that night. We're very grateful to be involved. Hopefully you can come, and hopefully we can get this clip package together before that. So thank you.
History, when the great maestros like Mario Bava and Sergio Martino, Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci, all these guys were the architects of a strong, violent, operatic kind of terror that was marketed back to the United States and was incredibly popular. Then sometime in the 80s, that all kind of went to bed. And the Italian genre universe, multiverse, died for a little while. Everything kind of became TV. And so I'm very excited to see slowly over the years the resurgence, a kind of a renaissance of Italian horror. And I think we've chosen 2 pictures this year that, well, for me, again, having loved this stuff my whole life, these are movies that truly knock my scary socks off. Let's start with the first one, a movie that is so deeply macabre and upsetting. Well, look, if you're going to come to this movie, don't eat a big dinner beforehand. It's called Home Education. It's by director Andrea Niana. An Italian horror film, but it does star the French actress Julie Ormond, who hasn't been on screen for many years, and here she gives a powerhouse performance as a mother who is raising her daughter in the countryside, homeschooling her, but let's just say she's teaching her things that aren't quite proper. She's raising her in a sort of perverted way. And as we learn from when you raise your kids in a perverted way, there are perverted consequences. I won't get into any deeper into it, but it's a magnificent, deeply macabre, deeply upsetting movie. We get even darker in the Italian terror vein, literally, with Federico Zampaglioni's The Well. Federico has been kind of one of the major names in Italy, sort of bringing Italian terror back, giving it a new luster. He is a rock star who started dabbling in making movies and has stuck with it. The Well is a gore fest, there's no other way to put it. But it's not a brainless gore fest. It's incredibly intelligent, there's a double narrative, there's strong female characters, and there's a big twist ending that you will not see coming. But, like its predecessor, Home Education, please, minimal dining prior to the screening. It's extremely gross. Cuckoo, we have the North American, I believe at least the Toronto Festival premiere of a German-American film by Tillman Singer called Cuckoo. If you see the trailer for this thing, if you've seen it, maybe you've read a little bit something about this picture, it lives up to the hype. Minimalist, slow-burning, nightmarish film about a young girl played by trans actress Hunter Schafer from TV's Euphoria, who ends up at her parents' spa in Germany and quickly starts to realize that something is wrong, deeply wrong, and that there may be malevolent forces, parasitic forces that have attached themselves to her family. The Vourdelak, making its North American premiere, a French movie called Vourdelak. Back to Italian terror, maybe the last time you've heard of the story of the Vourdelak was in Mario Bava's, the great Mario Bava's 1963 omnibus Black Sabbath. It was the third story in that movie. It's a story, it's based on the short story by Tolstoy, and in fact is the first vampire story ever written. Predates Dracula by 4 decades, I think. It's the story, kind of a folk horror tale about the patriarch of a family in a little village who ventures out one night and doesn't return until many, 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 many nights later. And he does come back, but again, something is very wrong with him. He is, in fact, a kind of vampire. But the beauty of this film is that everybody kind of suspects that Grandpa's a little off. And no one really wants to say, what's wrong with Grandpa? Even when he's dining on human blood and sucking the life out of his family members one by one. They're kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. And the beauty of this movie is that we, the audience, are quite aware that something's wrong with Grandpa because he is actually played by a puppet. The director himself puppeteers a cadaverous, emaciated puppet. So it adds to that uncanny valley feeling. Again, I don't think there's a movie quite like The Vourdelak. It's incredibly unique and wholly original. It is a horror film, but it's a very sophisticated horror film. From South Africa, if anyone's seen the Clint Eastwood, Don Siegel movie, The Beguiled, with the Sofia Coppola remake, with the original starred Clint Eastwood, the remake starred Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman. You know the story about a soldier who ends up being rescued by a family of women. And their initial benevolence quickly turns to bloodlust. This year's movie from South Africa, making its again Toronto premiere, we have Breathing In, which is basically the same kind of tale, but a far more supernatural take on the story, and set against the Boer War in South Africa. Bad women doing bad things to bad dudes. It's a great movie. And finally, tipping our hat to our home turf here in Canada, we have the world premiere, right? The absolute world premiere. The first time any human being on the planet that didn't make the movie is seeing the movie Spirit in the Blood, a Canadian film by first-time director Carly Mae Borgstrom, which is kind of an amalgam of maybe like Stranger Things and I don't know, something else about a bunch of girls who maybe The Craft and Stranger Things. That's a great comparison. A bunch of girls, one of them is murdered, and then the rest of them gather together to fight the evil ghosts that have infiltrated their town, and they suddenly tap into secret powers that they weren't even aware that they had to battle those ghosts. It's a little more fun. It's a great way to kind of end the show because it's a little bit more upbeat, but don't let me steer you wrong. It's still ample disgusting. So again, light meals, snacks, hors d'oeuvres, nothing heavy. What else is there to say? Should we mention the 11th hour, maybe? Okay. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's brewing. Yeah, there's so much stuff that's brewing, but I don't want to I don't want to reveal too much because it might not, it might work. But I did just get word, last year we had Brandon Cronenberg here to introduce Infinity Pool. This year I've been recording his palm. Good friend of mine, David Cronenberg, a local boy who just came back from Cannes, premiering his new film, The Shrouds. Two mixed reviews, of course, but it's Cronenberg. There's always going to be division. So he's going to probably be here with us at the festival, with me doing a special 25th anniversary screening of his completely underrated science fiction fantasy masterpiece, Existence. Cronenberg will be on stage introducing the picture and doing a Q&A as well, talking about the making of that great Canadian movie. I don't think I have anything else, Christiana, do I?
I think that we can do a second press conference just for the audience.
Yes. Next time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Put together event, and be able to contribute through the Our African Women Acting that is engaged in working with artists in Toronto, the GTA, and the Niagara region. Yeah, we've put together an amazing list, a beautiful list of amazing artists from different genre, different nationality. You can see from Kyla Kyla Wheeler and Haley Stepstone, the City Choir, many beautiful artists together, and then Danielle Monte, singer, songwriter.
For the full review, please click on the link in the description box below. 完整评价请看以下连结哦。And again, you're welcome. 还有不客气哦。Collaborations, or if you want to join our next event, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell and share. You can also add me online at Tinkeebellezza, Tinkeebellezza. Make sure the T is capital and send us a message first so we don't miss you. You can also add us online app by our QR code. Make sure to follow and like us on Facebook as well at fashionecsta. That's www.facebook.com/fashionecsta. Follow us on Instagram at fashionecstasy, also my personal account at tanya.fashionecstasy. We are also on Twitter at fashionecstasy and my personal account at shutanya, HSUTANYA. For more, just visit our website at fashionecstasy.com. Just Google search Fashion Ecstasy or in Chinese 时尚高潮. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. We upload videos every weekend, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday, depending on my disability status. 谢谢观赏，长边每个周末都会上传影片哦，记得按订阅、按赞、分享哦，铃铛要开启。